How you doing, Yifa? Thanks for coming on this morning.
Hi, Todd. Good to see you again. How are
Yeah,
you?
good to see you. Thank you. First, how's the child? How's the baby doing?
Well, they're the twins.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Two boys. Two boys.
You're busy.
I'm busy. I'm busy. Busy and happy and exhausted. All the
Yeah,
above.
I bet. So, you always have good insight as to what's happening on the ground in Israel. We have the situation in Gaza, the peace deal. There's, still some, I guess, fighting going on. Can you give us from the ground, what's happening in that area?
Yes, of course. Well, first of all, yeah, we got the 20 living hostages back last week. This was
Hmm.
a momentous day here in Israel.
Hmm.
The celebrations, people dancing in the streets. It was truly a joyous day. But I think in a very bizarre, very Israeli-like way, it can be both very very joyous and also very sad
Hmm.
all at the same time. So, I mean, we all knew while we were dancing in the streets that, the ceasefire is probably just temporary. And we were waiting to see what kind of violations would come from Hamas. We were sure they will try to play games, just didn't know yet which games.
Hmm.
And as we are seeing now, we haven't received all the bodies of our deceased hostages. Unfortunately, there are families still waiting to bury their loved ones to close this horrible chapter in their lives, and so is
Sure.
the entire Israeli society. I mean, we're all kind of feeling like a big family in this, and this is something that is hurting all of us. More so, I mean, we see Hamas is trying to reestablish its power all throughout the Gaza Strip. We've seen public executions. I don't know if the general public, I haven't seen, the major networks showing these horrible videos coming out of Gaza. I mean, as we always say cynically, if it's not the Jews, it's not interesting. If it's not
Hmm.
the Jews, it's not news.
Hmm.
Um, so unfortunately, I mean, it's tragic to see all these groups that have been trying to stand up to Hamas over these past 2 years are now paying a heavy price. We don't even know. Sometimes it's just a personal settling of scores, like
Right.
gangs,
Right.
uh, and trying to pin all kinds of cooperation with Israel. Most of these groups, by the way, did not cooperate with Israel. These are not supporters of Israel, just Gazans objecting to Hamas and the cynical use of their own population as a human shield, stealing their humanitarian aid, and all these other things that have been going on. So
So, just for our audience sake, you're saying that there's like internal conflict in Gaza where certain gangs are going after people and executing them and other things, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Hamas's people are coming out after being in hiding for the duration of the war.
Hmm.
Coming out, arrests hundreds of people, violence in the streets, and public executions. We see public executions. Some of these people, we know, we've heard their names. Those of us who have been following let's say, the internal resistance of
Hmm.
Gazans against Hamas. And unfortunately, now we see tragic images coming out of Gaza on a daily basis since
Hmm.
the ceasefire begun. So I'm not very optimistic about the ceasefire, I'm afraid, because
Hmm.
if Hamas was actually planning to lay down their arms, why would they go through so much trouble to reassert their position, their power,
Yeah.
control over the streets of Gaza? It's not a good sign. If you're about to throw in the tower, it's not something that you are likely to do.
Yeah.
So we're not very optimistic about the ceasefire. So I want to tell you two things. First of all, I think most Israelis, I mean, we know we paid a heavy price for the deal. I mean, there are so many terrorists that have been released, and but I think the most important thing that was for the Israeli society was to get the hostages back. This was both a strategic problem for us. While they were keeping our hostages, it tied our hands
Hmm.
in fighting, but also it was just a bleeding wound, like a never-ending bleeding
Yeah.
wound in Israeli society. Second of all, we kept military presence in about 50% of the Gaza Strip, and if they don't abide by their side of the agreement, then we will not withdraw. I mean, I hope not. That's what everyone is saying. So it keeps us in place without them holding that threat over us of the hostages. at least the living hostages at this point.
Yeah.
So I think we're very happy about the deal, even though we knew from the get-go that they will find ways to lie, to violate, to breach. But at least we are in a better strategic position. And now it remains to be seen. I mean, there are so many difficult decisions to make. We'll see what the American administration does. I mean, we've seen some powerful statements coming out of the White House, but I think it's a problem. I mean, President Trump had, went through so much effort to try to, to bring, I don't know if peace, but at least some quiet, to this part of the world for at least, some time, and it lasted not even one day. So I think it will be hard for them, to completely kind of throw in the towel very fast. I trust that they understand who we're dealing with. I trust that they have, that they have Israel's back, at least to a certain extent. But it will be difficult. It will be a difficult diplomatic battle, and we might have to resume fighting at some point.
Well, thank you for that. Interesting. What about the external situation? You've got Iran is, back in the headlines, and the Iron Dome. There's some talk that maybe they weren't as successful with some of those hypersonic ballistic missiles that really hit Tel Aviv hard. So those two questions, how are you dealing with that?
So we're tracking the Iran situation very, very, very closely. This is it troubles us tremendously. I think a part of the alliance that President Trump is trying to enhance is the alliance against the radical axis led by Iran, and I think that is going in the right direction. I hope we can see more normalization with Israel. We heard Indonesia, we know Saudi Arabia is waiting for the right moment. I think that will help put all of the region, all the relatively positive, let's say, actors in the region together in a better strategic position. Look, the Iranians are not going to give up their ideology. It's the same as Hamas. I mean, if your ideology, if your identity is death and destruction, if it's jihad, then it doesn't matter which financial sanctions or, if the American president is angry at you. Or if Israel has bombarded your cities for a bit. I mean, you'll resume that project and you'll try to get the upper hand. And we're now very concerned about intelligence coming in. We know that they're trying to find vulnerabilities of how to hit Israel or Israelis, maybe not here in Israel, maybe overseas, maybe embassies, maybe airplanes. We're not sure. I mean, we know that they tried before. Thank God we were able to stop them with our Mossad. We picked up intelligence in time to stop them. But we know that they are picking up those types of efforts, thinking it's some kind of a retaliation or maybe deterrence, or God knows what they're thinking. So we're very, very alert on that front.
There was some talk that that some of the Arab nations, some of the Gulf nations, if Hamas doesn't lay down their arms, that they would get involved in eradicating them from Gaza. What's your position on that? Do you think that's possible, or is it a good idea in your view?
Look, I mean, never say never, you know what I mean? But like, I don't see like an Indonesian soldier risking his life trying to get, Hamas to disarm, fighting around the Gaza Strip. I mean, the IDF was there for 2 years. It's hell on earth. All of their infrastructure, their tunnel, their booby traps, their cynical exploitation of children and civilians as human children. I don't see a Pakistani soldier or anyone, really threatening, putting their lives at risk to fight Hamas on the ground. And the second problem here is that we know that some of these actors are actually pro-Hamas. I mean, if you send a Qatari or a Turkish force into Gaza, then I'm not sure they're fighting for the right side and at all. So I think one of the problems that we're facing diplomatically right now is the effort to try to keep the Qataris and especially the Turkish out of the ground in Gaza, because again, they cannot be trusted on that front. So as far as I'm concerned, unfortunately, we've seen this for almost 80 years now. If we want to do something, we have to do it ourselves.
Your government doesn't care about you. That's why you need a medical emergency kit. It contains life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, and antibiotics. Stock them before they block them.
Special report.
Knowing how to invest your money is harder than ever before. Dealing with stock market volatility, record debt, and terrorist attacks requires new thinking. At U.S. Asset Management, we can help you see the world more clearly so that you can move beyond the chaos and invest with confidence. Call us, visit us online, or drop by our office. U.S. Asset Management, helping you make better decisions with your money.
And we can rely on other nations for diplomatic support, maybe, financial support, maybe, often not, by the way. But if we want to get the job done, we have to do it ourselves.
So you mentioned Turkey. That's a big deal because I think Erdogan has designs on the region, and he's trying to the humanitarian aid they're talking about in Gaza with Qatar and others, and also in Syria. I see tension in Syria between Turkey and Israel. What say you?
Look, we're concerned because we see a future maybe that the Shia axis with Iran is we were able to kind of take that threat level down significantly. So maybe now the future holds a significant threat from a radical Sunni axis led by Muslim Brotherhood, Turkey, Qatar, and others. And basically Syria, a Turkish presence in Syria means a Turkish presence potentially on the Israeli border. So currently the Americans are trying to keep the Turkish influence more to the north, understanding fully that if they are actually on the border with Israel, this is potentially a problem in the future, maybe not tomorrow, but in the upcoming next few years, God knows. So for us, it's a real concern. We don't want to see any new radical elements. We don't want to see a new axis of terror rising on our borders. And so we have many challenges ahead. I mean, we took that day, as I told you, to dance in the streets because we all knew very well it's just maybe it's one day off. That's the best we can do. So we just danced.
You got video of you dancing?
I don't have videos of me dancing. No, but thousands of people, other people. I've
seen those. Yeah. So Syria, Golani in Damascus. Is he a threat or not? I'm still on the fence.
Everyone's on the fence. Look, we don't know exactly what is in his heart and mind. I mean, he faces many challenges himself. I mean, it's if you listen to the mainstream media, it looks like he's he has full control of the entire Syria, that his regime is stable. That's not true at all. I mean, his control is over maybe 20%, maybe depends on who you ask, but it's definitely not much more than that. He has a lot of opposition, even from within his own group. I mean, this guy survived, I think, already 5 or 6 attempts on his life just in the, just recently. So this is not stable at all. That's one issue. Second issue is, if I'm a smart jihadist and we have to start thinking like smart jihadists, then I'm thinking first, I'll get all the foreign funding and foreign aid and get the sanctions relieved and get everyone on my side so that I can rebuild Syria, establish my control, build an army, and then I can go back to doing, to pursuing my ideological dream of jihadism and so on and so forth. So we have to take that into account. That is a possibility. Maybe he changed, maybe not. We don't know we can't know that for sure. But our experience show that you have to be prepared for all kinds of contingencies, even if it's ones that you don't like and you don't want to think about. You have to prepare yourself for them, but also hope for the good. I mean, if a normalization opportunity comes along, as long as we stand and make sure that our interests are protected, we should pursue that. We should look into that because that's what we really want.
Next door in Lebanon, the Christians are under siege there. I'll actually be in Beirut next month or next week, or actually in 2 days. But what do you see happening in Lebanon? Is Hezbollah going to be disarmed? What do you think?
I don't see anyone disarming Hezbollah, to be honest. I mean, I don't see it. I mean, I applaud the Lebanese society, the small majority of Lebanese society that finally stood up to Hezbollah, and they're finally making statements, but also trying to implement resolutions in their parliament and in their government to disarm Hezbollah. Hezbollah is very, very, very strong, and they're not going down so easily. I don't see it. I don't see it. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, even if they try and they help weaken Hezbollah and they help keep Hezbollah at bay to some extent, that's a huge difference. There's also a demographic issue. I mean, the Shiite community is expanding more rapidly than other communities. Within a few years, if not now, there will be a majority. And there is a chance of Hezbollah, even in a legitimate democratic, not that I see democracy happening, but even potentially democratically, they can be elected and be, the power in Lebanon in the next few years. So I don't know. I mean, we want friendship with the Lebanese people. I mean, we had friendship with the Lebanese people in the past, which is a rare commodity in the region. So, I'm optimistic, and I think we should lend them a hand as far as we're trying. As we're active in South Lebanon every day, trying to take out threats, trying to see what we can do to even empower their efforts. So it remains to be seen.
Interesting. Last question. You were the chief of staff to the U.S. ambassador to, or the Israeli ambassador to the U.S. Do you have thoughts or plans down the road once your boys are a little older, getting back into that game?
Diplomacy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to tell you, I enjoy being on the outside as much as I enjoyed being on the inside. There are advantages and disadvantages to every part of the court that you play in. We'll see. I have to tell you, more than anything, I just love being here. This is home. Even if it's an important job like I had, thank God I had the opportunity. But it took me away from home, and that was a difficult thing.
Yifa Segal, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy mom. Take care.
Thank you, Todd. Thanks so much.
Bye.